You know things are bad when Unreal's looking good. I I have my doubts. I'm not a young man anymore. I'm not hopeful about anything ever. But there's something about it. I think they're trying their best. I will say I don't necessarily like this what do you want to call it? Like how they work with specific developers to bring a feature up. And then they're just like, oh yeah, this will be in the engine one day. Maybe 5.7, maybe 5.8, maybe 6. Who knows? Uh, it's been a long day. All right, all right, all right. I took a quick peek or some of the Unreal stuff. And it does look neat. It does look neat. I haven't looked through the whole page that they put out yet, but I, of course, am a little more interested in the what do you want to call it? The Godot snapshot. I think that's coming along pretty well. I want to take a look at that too. What do you want to call it? Oh, abstract classes. Abstract classes now available in the snapshot. But, you know, I'd say, what are they doing? They're entering a feature freeze soon. Do I have that right? I think I saw that today. So I'm assuming 4.5 should be out by end of June, you know, proper. But who knows? They just be doing shit. Actually, there was we'll talk about it. Actually, you know what? I'm bringing it up. Where's that box? There you go. Let's see here. This doesn't fit very well. It's not the button I wanted to hit. There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad. You can see it, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. This thing here, right? Replicube. Oh, that's odd. I don't know why this is odd to me. It makes a lot of sense, but for some reason, grabbing this and moving it feels very odd. Oh, what did I do there? How did I do that? Oh, 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 it's a little finicky on where you can grab it. Oh, if you grab it here, hold on. Oh, look at that. If you grab it here, you can only move it up. Why can you move it up at all? Is that to close it? Why do they do this? Anyway, this here, right? This intrigued me when I first saw it. Yeah, I'm a big voxel man. And not only do you have some voxels going on here, you got a little, I don't know if this is also supposed to be a laptop, but something. You got a laptop. I don't know. These might be the same thing. I have no idea what this is other than this image. Should we look it up? Let's see. What is replicube? Replicube on Steam. What is this? An open-ended programming puzzle game slash toy. Don't put that in your game descriptions. Don't don't call them toys. That's just it's not a good word. Like if you're I don't know, maybe some people are into that, but like when I see the word toy in here and then I see $10, You know what I mean? I just don't see the purpose to it. Just don't call it a toy. Just call it an open-ended programming puzzle game. Is it programming puzzle toy? Or is it open-ended programming puzzle slash toy? Is the whole thing a toy? I don't know. uh, about writing code to replicate 3D voxel-based objects. So what are we seeing here? Oop, oop, oop. He's got conditionals. This is like when AIs write code to solve tests you give them. If input equals -1, return 7. If input equals -2, return 8. Oh man. So what are they doing here? They're making bowling alleys? What exactly are you supposed to generate this? Like, is this, it says reference object. Oh yeah, you can see where they're off here. You see this one is smaller. This one's wider. But other than that, they're effectively the same thing. Why did he make it so wide? What else goes on in this trailer? Good luck. This is actually kind of neat. Oh, there you go. He fixed it. Code size 79. What size is your code? Well, that's... Is this like 15 seconds of black at the end of this trailer? Oh, God. What are they doing? What is this, the Parthenon? Roman temple. Notes. When y is greater than or equal to 3, the rest is color 1. So you do dirt and then grass. This kind of makes me want to try it. It is interesting. Should I download the demo in the background here? It would probably take like a millisecond. Okay. Yeah, there you go. It's done. We might look at that later. Anyway, so hold on, what's going on in this? So if z is less than -1 or y is less than -3, then is this our color set? Turn C, is that what I'm seeing there? Okay, so for what are we seeing here? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's got boundaries in here. Anyway, the simplest things distract me. Brrr! Do you feel that? This guy's name is Thaddeus Cruz. I've seen him on the GitHub, I believe. I say, possibly lying. He might just be a content writer. I don't know. That's the cold front of the feature freeze just around the corner. See, I thought so. This is likely to be our final development snapshot of the 4.5 release cycle. Okay. I haven't downloaded it yet. I usually don't download most of the snapshots. I think I did 2. I've done one of them. I don't remember. Wallaber Entertainment. Do you think they've done anything else? PGRC, Parking Garage Rally Circuit. It is a mouthful. A new Jelly Car game. Do they just have a game list? Pro Gymnast Simulator. Okay. These are interesting games, at least. Shader programming in disguise. I do like that. What kind of merch do they have? Oh, man. Oh, you can buy a poster. That's pretty dope, actually. I mean, I'm not gonna get it, but you know. Anyway, um, here we go. Here we go. Into the big ones. Let's do a run through here real quick. Right. Mute game toggle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember this one. Actually, I remember seeing this. I'm not in here, but I remember seeing it. Button, disable all audio output. That's actually pretty good. I could use that in my game. What do we have going here? Drop preload resources as UID. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think I do remember seeing this one too. I probably read this exact page. Multiple remote nodes at the same time. Don't open shit. I hate Edge. That's pretty neat. Chunk tile map physics. The current implementation of tile map layer, garbage by the way, uses individual collision bodies for every single cell. That's very true. I've run into that exact issue. Um, he took to entirely reworking this system. Okay, you didn't really describe how. Let's take a look. What do we got going here? I doubt having thousands of colliders on a map has no impact. I also doubt that, frankly. But, you know, maybe they're just really good at what they do. They're the most efficient colliders you've ever seen. Let's see. How did he rework it, though? Do you think he did here? Physics quadrant. Um, that's interesting. Anyway, so keeps a track of chunks. Clear, clear, clear. He should have removed all this debug stuff in a separate thing. That's how I go about it, especially with public facing projects, because who knows? Who knows what's going to walk through the PR? Like a random person who gets distracted by the removal of debugs. I mean, you just never know. Yeah, they should be pretty beneficial. I need to move this around. Can I pop this out? The chat is slightly blocked. There we go. And pop that. Yeah, they should be pretty good. I think there's a couple other tile map upgrades in 4.5. I hope they do something about updating them at runtime. My solution right now is basically just checking if they don't work anymore and then regenerating them, which isn't very performant. Is it better than not having tile maps? Probably. See, I like this. This is 4 if statements right in here. Oh, don't do that. Just checking all these values. This is professional code. This wouldn't look anywhere near as bad if it wasn't for this. Is this 4 character indentation here? No, this has to be 8 character indentation. That's crazy. Anyway, what we got here? Anything cool down in this? Scene change signal to scene tree. I implemented this myself months ago. Very simple. I should have been the one to get this list here. Anyway, this one's a big one. I saw somebody do a rundown on this, drag and drop into array property editors. I was using a data structure in which what do you want to call it? Like, everything was I was defining set starter data and like level data for each instance, and having to add those in the editor was very annoying. So I ended up just doing it once and then working in the actual scene file in the XML because that was just faster. But this should help out with that. Um, Not a whole lot here. Anything cool here? Yeah, this is the other one. This is going to be really good. See, I think they kind of rushed themselves on the 2D pathfinding update or navigation update. I feel like they didn't have it in a place they wanted it, but they had to get something out because just what they were doing elsewhere in 4.0, or was that was 3.3? Like the changes they were making were going to break the old 2D navigation. What's this one? Oh, that's pretty neat. I don't use anything but GD script really. Sometimes I will edit the C++. I just open it in VS Code. That's nice. Wayland support does not apply to me anymore. Um, that's that. All right. Quick through 3. What is this? Screen reader in the editor? Or is this for players? Access kit. What is that? How it works. Oh, that's really neat, actually. This is really nice. I'm a big accessibility guy, especially in the web, where it's gotten extremely easy to do, and yet people still don't do it. So I'm sure this was a big task. Hmm. 32,000 lines. That's crazy. It's in Rust? Did I have that right? Oh, I want to check. Yeah, Rust. 99.7% Rust. Script backtracing. Ooh, that is pretty nice. Oh, also available and exported. That's pretty neat. I'm excited. Let's see. Oh, cool. This is going to be really useful for some people. I think especially if you write a lot of, your own, uh, like inspector extensions. I have a couple, but I don't know. I start writing one and then I realize I could just do it a different way without it. Okay, 4 real quick. Um, I would like to go to Godot Con next year. I wonder what they do there. It can't be huge, right? Yeah, this is a big one. I was on Mac until the end of last year, and when they announced the embedded window, but not for Mac, I got really annoyed. It's not a problem anymore, but it was. And now it's no one's problem. I've definitely read this one too. This is really nice here because like the jump to 4 had quite a few breaking APIs. So it's nice to see when they can do something without that. Just give people a nice change in the background, like everyone in every other software field does, usually. Yeah, this is a big one too. Um, I've always liked this variant type. It's effectively the any type, but like why couldn't it be used in the inspector? And now it can't. This is Oh yeah, it'll be quite the changer here because like you can see here, he's changing it just to whatever he wants. I don't know what he selected there. The emote field. Hmm. Okay, he's just pasting emotes into a string. That wouldn't have worked 10 years ago. We got here specular collusion. We got a lot of graphic stuff today. A lot of the Unreal updates are graphic stuff too. It's kind of wild. Okay, back to the new one. So this here I don't really care about. I've moved on from VR and XR and da, 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 da. But this one, now this is something everybody needs. I had to wean myself off of using abstract classes because that was something I got into a lot in Unity and Unreal. Just abstract classes all the time. They work really well for games. And then, you get a Godot and you've got some virtual, but nothing like an abstract class. And now here we are. Here we are. I wonder what this looks like. 17 files we got going on. Oh yeah. I was talking to somebody. What were they making? They were doing one of those like wheel menus for their main menu. Like it's a big wheel, and they've got all the labels attached to the core. And then as you go through the menu, it turns the whole thing. Oh, hey. Yeah, it was kind of all over the place, that video. Uh, but that's just kind of how I approached the topic. It had a slight core to it, and then, whatever I wanted to say around that. I'm glad you liked it. What was I saying? Yeah, he had a wheel off center of the screen, like on the left, cut in half, and then all the labels were attached to that as children, just spiraled around it. And he was talking about how he had to use a shader on the label text to give it the outlines and shit he wanted. And so that will help people. I'm sure people have been asking for it. What we're doing here. I wanted to look at this. No, those are tests. This. No, those are errors. It's probably somewhere in the setup here. Oh yeah, here you go. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that doing something while you listen to me ramble on some kind of topic, especially that one, somehow makes it make more sense. Oh, I like this. This is something you have to put in for these fake statically typed languages. All right, what do we got going here? This is a game changer, though. I will be making more abstract classes. Shader Baker. Unreal's got something about baked shaders, too. Maybe they're just copying each other with a tenth of the cost. Why is this a video, but this isn't? Or is it a video and it's just not playing? Yeah, I'm interested in how much this goes because they already touted kind of a fast shader compilation. And it's interesting they're making it optional. Like if it's I wonder how much it overloads some of what's going on in there already. Let's see. Because I mean, 20 times decrease. That is a crazy amount. Oh, targeting Apple devices or DirectX 12 or lower. Interesting. Oh, here you go. Longer export time. I wonder, they didn't put a number in here, but I'm betting that's like 3 times longer. But I mean, that's what you pay for. Let's see. Yeah, I expect that too. I wonder I wonder if Steam still does the like massive installation size change warning. I wonder if there are any indie games out there that are currently like, 200 megabytes and then they turn this on and they come up to a gig. Yeah, I don't mind the export times either. It's just like rendering anything. You just hit run and walk away, do it overnight. I don't know if there's anything else in this snapshot about Vulkan, but I know they had something on Twitter about improving Vulkan support. I know they're doing pretty good on it. They've had like a decade now, but I'm interested in what there's still left to do. WebAssembly SIMD support. See, I thought WebAssembly would be a pretty big thing, and I know some people have taken pretty good advantage of it, but I dove into it when it was first coming through, and then I just haven't really seen a need to for a lot of things. Like obviously for games, it's pretty good if you want them in the web, but I don't know. I just don't tend to put mine there. Yeah, I'd say the biggest things that add to export times are scene connections, everything around graphics, and how your model files are done. Like if you've got I'm gonna get it wrong, like a GLF, like where the textures and everything are cooked into it, that can really reduce how much your models add to your export time. But if you have like the OBJ and the MTL and whatever else you're bringing in, that can really add on some minutes at the very least. Let's see. This is nice. This is a nice little addition. Yeah, I feel like there's so many things they could do with the built-in IDE they've got going. I've been asking for a split screen because many times, especially like when you're writing unit tests or whatever, you just want your script over here and your other thing over here. Why can't I have that? What's wrong with me that I want split screen and they haven't done it? This is neat though. I think part of what is odd to me about this is that obviously they've got it next to all the colors, but the way they write it here, where do they say it? Within the script editor itself. Any or seeing what kind of color is represented by a variable without it needing to be exposed. But you can't really. Like if you use this down the way, I don't think it's going to show you what color is in it. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. More graphics. Hmm. SMA 1 times. Hang you. Yes, we are live here. This would be a very odd video to make, just slowly scrolling down. I get bored editing it. I could never be one of these people that actually goes in and works on the renderer. I spent like a whole summer a few years back just building a graphics engine. I went through, what was the book called? Graphical Programming for Game Developers or something like that. And it just has you, it starts at, your simple GLSL triangles, and then you work all the way up to like cloth physics. And that was interesting, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. Oh yeah, importing music tracks, especially if you keep them like lossless, that can really add to your times. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend if you don't have a plan to do anything with your graphics engine knowledge, I wouldn't recommend spending 3 months learning graphics engines. I think the biggest part of it that helped was that section near like with the cloth physics because that was just interesting. It's just an algorithm to mimic cloth. The water stuff too. I don't remember any of the water stuff though. So what do we have here? Image. Is that a person or is that a box? It kind of looks like a Roblox character, but I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's boxes. Hey, sometimes you learn something and never use it, but then, 15 years from then, there's a purpose to it. See, I personally don't see any difference in these images, except this shadow might be sharper. I don't know what it's supposed to be showing though. Right. What about these? I've got such a bad eye for graphics. Yeah, generally I think it is the best use of your time to just learn things as you need them. See, here's the thing about forgetting things you learned is that your brain never truly forgets, right? There are things I learned, 15 years ago, and I don't remember them now, but the moment I start learning them again, it's going to start to come back. And so, did I waste time 15 years ago? Yes. Am I saving time now? Also, yes. Were I to need to learn it again. If I never need to learn it again, I've only wasted time. This is interesting. Who put this together? Are these, is this a paint can? Can I open this any further? No, don't search it. How does the paint can look any better? I'm getting nothing from these images. On we go. Oh, this is a nice change here. I like sorting in my animation players. I feel like they don't have any real organization right now. I think you can rearrange them. I think it's, if I'm remembering correctly, they have like you click one and then hit move down. Not a fan of that. What is a Theora video file? I don't know what that means. It's capital. Maybe it's a program. Listen, if you don't work on yourself, one day AI will work on you. I like how they just list that they added this command line argument. Don't say what it does, though. Let's check it out. Let's see. Expects. What did this guy say? I tend to use AI tools much less for writing code and much more for explaining gaps in what I already understand. That and I'll use it to scaffold certain things. Like it needs a lot more training on GD script, just all the models do, if you wanted it to be useful there. But one thing I really like doing, because it's kind of language agnostic, is you can, if you're talking to Claude and you want to write, say, like I don't know, like an inventory, they're on the brain. You can ask it to just scaffold with comments, like the different sections of a working inventory. And then you still have to go in and write all your code, but you get a little setup here. You get a little organization going on. Yeah, I'd say the best way to get it to work in more obscure languages, like it's gotten a bit better at Elm, but things like GD script and Elm and all your weird flavors of JavaScript, is to just give it as much code as you can and then get it to figure out from there. If you don't give it any context, it will just try and usually fail really badly. I also go a little insane not knowing what is wrong, especially if out of nowhere it fixes itself. Yes. I wonder what this means. Actually, I know what this means. That's pretty neat, actually. I think currently you had to run them from the run command. So this is nice to see. Um, is this the in-browser file dialog? That makes sense. I'm excited to see them finalize this Jolt physics integration. There's a bit new here. There's a bit new. I think this snapshot is a little small compared to some of them. I think the big things here, obviously, everybody's been asking for inline color pickers. What else is here? We got abstract classes. So that's the big game changer here. Shader Baker. That'll help a lot of people. And then what's going on down here? Anything cool down here we missed? Well, this is quite nice. I think that's about all there. Yeah, I'm hoping they get this out before the end of June. That'd be good timing for me. Not a whole lot of this changing. I think, which one had the tile map changes? Was that this one? Here you go. Yeah, I really like this, coming in 4.5, this chunk tile map physics. You see this here? This is something I had to implement in my own game because I wanted to be able to deform my my tile map while also keeping the navigation layers, right? And when I just every little setup I tried had some issue with it. And so I understand it's probably easier to just step into the engine code and do it there. Like I think the PR for this, what was it, like 5 files? Yeah, 5 files changed to implement this. Only 4 real files. But yeah, currently, if you have a tile map with navigation, and then you get rid of something that makes like an improper section, like if you only have the one navigation region, and then you were to cut like these three out of here, this whole section here would collapse. This whole section might also collapse, and then you have no navigation. And trying to make a very navigation based 2D game, that was a real pain. So this is probably one of the biggest things for me. This and then the I don't know which snapshot it was in. They've got a dedicated 2D navigation server now. Or I think the other one was like running alongside the 3D. Anyway, I guess we can move on to the Unreal stuff. I didn't get to watch this announcement live. I did watch a little bit that they showed alongside all the Witcher stuff, but they're definitely kind of stepping forward in terms of professional tools, which is nice to see. So let's dive into that a bit. Now I really like how they word this. I saw this earlier and was very confused. Right? They say deliver games that consistently render at 60 FPS on current gen consoles, high-end PCs, and modern mobile devices. Now, when I read that, I thought one game, 60 FPS on all three of these things. And I was trying to find the equation where modern smartphone equals PlayStation 5 equals 5090. But that's not the equation they're talking about. This is you can deliver games to all of these that could reach 60 FPS on their target platform. So if you're making a mobile game, you can get it to 60. If you're making a PC game and you put it on mobile, we're not guaranteeing you anything. So The Witcher 4 will not run at 60 FPS on your smartphone. I'm sorry to say. It does look good though, but I do expect it to look worse by the time we get it. Lumen global illumination. I don't like how they write things. Like something about the Godot stuff, they're just like very friendly and straightforward. But here, the way they've written this, it's two parts. They say by eliminating key CPU bottlenecks, you can author. So do I have to get rid of them, or do I just turn this on? Do I turn something on and it gets rid of them? I genuinely think we should just lock FPS to whatever the nearest is you can get. That was a real issue for me a couple of years ago because like anything new, I would run at like a solid like 55, and then drops would go to like 45, and it was very annoying going into that range. Like would I have rather been at 30? No, but would it have been more consistent? Potentially. I wish they had expanded on this a bit more, and they might have in the showcase, but who knows? Yeah, I don't know what they mean. I'm assuming they've eliminated key CPU bottlenecks. Like something to do. I assume because it's in here with the ray tracing, they've offloaded illumination stuff to the GPU. But did they eliminate them? Do I need to eliminate them? When I define global illumination, do I have to tell it to go to the GPU? It's not clear. There's no PR link for me to go look at. Let's see. I did see this bit about streaming static content. I think that's really good. Fast geometry streaming plugin. No, it's just I don't like how they've worded it. Like I can tell all they've done here really is just added more to the GPU, and they're like, "Oh, we recognized all these things. We had our data analysts go through and recognize all these things that are taking up our CPU. What if we throw those on the graphics card?" But the way they put it here is just annoying. Yeah, the streaming content is very nice. I remember that was a big issue Unity had, probably still has. I don't know. Where as you had more and more static content streaming in, you just kind of had to pick and choose what kind of game you wanted to make. Like you couldn't make an RTS with any streaming content. Yeah, I need to keep up with Unreal a bit more because they use these names for things that are obviously like proprietary tool names, and then I'm just thinking like, oh, that's a word. How does it apply to this? I mean, it is nice lighting though, you know. Nothing wild. It looks a little better than Shrek 3. The device profiles are nice though. I think I think that's something we'll move more towards, especially as we have a wider variety of smartphones get brought in. Like I feel like the Chinese version of the Unreal Engine probably has device profiles for like every Huawei phone so that you can deliver straight to people's pockets. The best setup for them. But I mean, why wouldn't you? If you could, why wouldn't you? You know, like all of Sony's first party developers deliver directly for the PS5. What is this from? Does anyone know? Is this like Spider-Man 2? Because it looks like a New York sort of area, but there's nothing in here to give away exactly what this is. It's just a flyover. It's a very short flyover too. I wonder why. Now this was really cool. I saw a clip of this from the showcase. I'm a big fan of anything where you can affect animations as you can watch them play, right? Now, I saw something in the showcase where you could like crimp the entire thing and just scale it a bit. Like I like this in editor line here. You can just go in and mess with. You've got all these down here. I think this will be a big deal. I don't know what of this is already supported, if anything. Let's see. Unified for both actor and character controls. You can adjust your arcs and spacing directly in the viewport. Dashed, time-based, and heat/speed mode. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I know, what was it? There's something they're bringing in 5.7. I think they mentioned in the showcase today that they had in Unreal 4, but when they brought out Unreal 5, they didn't have. And I don't know exactly. It was something to do with the crowds, I think. I don't know exactly why they couldn't do it until now. Well, until next release. But there are some people still making their games in Unreal 4 because that's the only place they get it. So it's very strange. Tween tools. I like that. Nice alliteration. Hotkeys. Do you think overshoot mode is like A rebound, like this guy's leg slams into the ground and bounces back up. I don't know. Do they have an example of that? This is tween tools. Oh yeah, here's what I was seeing. Yeah, I need to. I don't think I've played any games with ray tracing. I have a card now that supports it, but and I might have played something I didn't know it was on. Yeah, it's always interesting. When did they put Unreal 5 out originally? Was that like 2019, 2020? We've been on it for a little while now. Because I think 3 was like 2011. Let's see. Better control of your timelines. Sync animation, dialogue, and effects confidently using real-time audio scrubbing. See, as someone who just does all of that in code, this would be really nice. Oh yeah. I mean, like the moment GTA 5 went gold, like they just locked 5 people in a room and said get started on the next one, right? And then, 2, 3 years later, they had ideas, and then they brought 55 more people into that same room and locked the door again. And then around 2020, they said, all right, we're bringing in 5,500 more people. Do something about it. And here we are. Lattice tool. See, it's hard to see examples of all these. Like, this is tween, curve editor. I'm assuming the lattice tool and smart key snapping are in here. Something in here. Is this the lattice tool? This little crimping thing I was talking about? Node graphs are pretty good though. They're very useful for lots of things. Not for me, but for lots of things. um, Take control of your timelines. That could be a tagline. Someone go make a time travel game, and this just rip better out of here. This is your tagline. No commission required. It's all yours. God, they put a lot of text in here. So you go on this one, right? You get a paragraph, you get an image. You get some text, you get an image. Over here, it's like, here's a bunch of stuff we added. Here's a single fucking thing. How do you know what you're looking at? Who knows? Now this live morphing, and then they probably talk about it down here. This whole thing, I like any in editor tools that start to replace out of editor tools, because I do feel like these things should be like all in one solutions, because that's kind of how they make them in house, you know. And if they're not all in one, they're at least a bunch of software made by the same people all on one computer. This is wild here because what's going on in this area? What is that? Did they go the Red Dead route and go full quality? I do like seeing all the physics points. I think the hair is this back here, and then the I don't know, shaders maybe are filling in the rest of the main. They've got like what, 4 or 5 main points. And then a lot of the stuff on the saddle has trackers. Not all of it, but like you see the one down here. Big fan of that. I like this idea. Yeah, I don't know. Like I remember when Witcher 3 came out, and I remember when Witcher 2 came out. And Witcher 2 was a very big jump from Witcher 1, you know. And while I do prefer Witcher 1 out of all of them, like Witcher 2 is a better game than 1, and 3 is a better game than 2. But something about the change there, you're right. I think they push for the cutting edge too early. And then by the time it actually comes out, it's like somebody else has pushed out something faster. And so now it looks slightly older. Yeah, like Witcher 3 isn't a bad looking game, but it was very quickly overtaken in terms of graphical quality. Why did they make him look like this? Like he looked perfectly fine, and then they just bloated him. I can't believe it. I am glad to see them moving more stuff in editor though. Um, I've watched over the years as more and more stuff moves into the editor, and I support it. I do. It's interesting to see this stuff. I feel like they're adopting this from a couple like big studio in-house engines. You know, like I feel like they've had this for years now. Yeah, I'm iffy on it too. I like obviously there's the cyberpunk effect. Like even though I recognize that Cyberpunk has turned into a pretty good game now, I go back and play it and I remember how it was on release and I can't put my heart into it. Um, Obviously Witcher 4, I hope they'll do better at the start, but who knows? This here is wild. I wonder if this has any locking into I mean, it seems to, into just human models. Like, is it smart about human models? Does it know when something doesn't look like a human? Does it even give you the options? Or is it like the Oblivion character creator? You can just go wild. A lot of dots. Because, like, what's stopping this from just being a general model editor? Like it says a near infinite range of plausible body shapes. So you've limited your infinite range already to plausible body shapes. And then it's near infinite in that limited range. I do like this outfit asset though. I like them swapping through, from this to this to this. Yeah. How much work are you supposed to put in? Like, are you supposed to start with like a base humanoid model and then like make things from that? Like, does this woman and that man come from the same base, or are you just editing things? I need to look into this more. I like the in-engine mocap stuff here too. I saw them doing a little test video where they had a guy rolling around. I mean, there's a lot to tweak here, you know? Like, they're just moving this guy's arms. Like, I don't know what's going on over here because I can't do much about this. Like, they have names on all these things. And it obviously kind of knows when something isn't a plausible body type. I do feel like if there's no way to just use this as your character creator, then they've failed in this project. You should just be able to style the background and menu and then export this with your game. What else would be the point of it? New plugins. All right, now we get into the UI. We've got icon scaling. Oh, we've just got file browser scaling in general. Look, it automatically goes to icons. What do they say here? Smarter content organization. Yeah, but how much would you have to rip out and change up? I guess with asset streaming, you wouldn't have to do too much. Mhm. I will say this is something that threw me off about Unreal, very similar to Blender itself, where like every view you change to has a completely different layout. It's just annoying. Is this like an actual game that they're using all these test scenes from, or is this another one of their demos? Because it's very well built. Like you go back up here, whatever's going on with this, and then this guy on his bike. Like they put so much work into this background scene. They should just release all their demo scenes as mini games. Where were we? Interesting. What is Zen streaming? Incremental cook. That's nice. I know they've been working this in little by little over the years. Um, they had, God, it was somewhere early in four that they started up with the incremental rebuilds for your code. 'Cause I remember I started a project and, like you save a file and it takes you 2 minutes for things to change. And then I brought it up to the newest version a couple weeks later, and suddenly everything was faster. Yeah, but I feel like they should just. I mean, wouldn't that be? You got to sell to consumers as well, because people have gotten this idea to them, right? Where Unreal just means asset store slop, because it's so easy to make something that is convincingly good. And I feel like the best way to do this is to take asset store items and put out something really cool as a mini game and say, look, yeah, we got a lot of asset store stuff, but you can do really cool things with it. That is more Unity. Unity does, I don't know if they still do, but they did quite a few actual demos, which is what they use to show things off. What's going on here? Better GPU driven performance. The node graph UX is the only thing bolded here, has been updated to support inline constant. See, they don't give you an example of this at all, do they? Maybe in here? No, this is the cinematic assembly tool set. This is the mocap. This is just more Witcher stuff. See, you'd have to. I'm sure someone down there has better examples of everything going on here. Oh, I like this 3D viewport for meshes for the entire node graph. By reducing CPU overhead, the system now enables smoother and more efficient GPU-based spawning at runtime. That's nice. I think somewhere in the Witcher showcase, they mentioned that to make this forest situation they have going on, they have like the trees are made out of 25 parts, and then they just instance like 10,000 based off the what do you call them, like the master versions, and just keep them on the GPU. And when I heard those numbers, you know, I sparked a little bit. I was like, that's not realistic. And then I had to remember it's not 2013 anymore. Like 10,000 of something on your GPU is kind of small now. But I mean, it does look nice. I'm interested in these biome features. I was thinking about launching Unreal tomorrow and taking a look at this. But I want to see. I want to see. I don't. Yeah, it is now available. I'm interested in how they. I'm sure there's a YouTube video about it. Yeah, I think the big thing with Unreal, like I think a lot of people can instantly spot a lot of Unity asset flips. I think with Unreal though is that it doesn't require a whole lot of tweaking to get something past your average like store browser. You know, you go looking through the store, you see something that looks really nice, then you go in and you start to get this sense that there's no actual game here, and it turns out this was just like half an hour in Unreal. Yeah, I don't know. I gave up. I gave up on hardware stuff a while ago. Like I want it to handle it for me at this point. I'm not interested in determining what's on the CPU, what's on the GPU. Like if I was, I wouldn't be using an engine. I'd have more time on my hands. I would just write my own. Just do it for me. Do it like up here, all the way up here. Eliminate key CPU bottlenecks, please. I'm just gonna add. Have they built an AI into Unreal yet? Can I just say, hey, Unreal AI, eliminate CPU bottlenecks? Maybe that's what they mean. Yeah, I made a couple, like especially at the end of my graphics summer. Um, yeah, I kind of took the graphics core I had made up following that textbook and then just built around it. And then, if I ever do something in, oh God, I'm forgetting names. I built a few in C and C++, less in C because you kind of get capped out eventually if you don't want to spend an hour on absolutely everything. But and then what was this? This was 2020. Scala. I built a little engine in Scala, which really was just using, Java game libraries to wrap things up for rendering. But and I'm a big fan of the idea, especially if you're working in C++, that if you can sit your game down to an engine idea that isn't going to cover too much, just make it extremely specific for this game, then maybe you should. But not everybody wants to do that. I have very limited time for game development anyway. Only $1,000 per title. What if they make $1,001? I guess that's a profit. Where were we? Down here. Oh, we're almost at the end. So Capture Manager. I am a big fan because Godot does the same thing. Unity, I don't know if they still do as much, but I'm a big fan of taking community extensions and tools and just taking it and putting it in the editor. Just rip it out and shove it in here. Listen, for $1,000 a title, better than all of these. I mean, you're putting up a deal here that just can't be beat. That's very true. That's why you force analytics inside so you can estimate how much money they've made and then take them to court and force them to share how much money they made. Cinematic Assembly Tool Set. CAT. Okay. And there's more. Do a quick run through this. Oh, look at this. For an engine of this complexity, it's interesting that this is both a short and long list of contributors. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many this is. Maybe 45 people. That's my guess. Rough guess. I think it's going to be more than 45. Maybe 73. If anybody wants to count these up, be my guest. Okay, so here this is. I should have just started on this page. This has much more information. Let's see. Not that much more information, but low-level optimizations ensure faster, more efficient renderings. I'll take their word for it. Render parallelization. I don't care. Let's see what's going on in this. Virtual shadow maps optimization. They don't say much. They just tell you it exists now. What's in the world building section? Oh, is this a better video of New York? Maybe this is one of their demo scenes. 14% of 1,000, that's $140. Now, 14% of much more than 1,000, that's much more than $140. Hey, don't forget, you also owe your publisher and Steam and anyone else along the way. Let's see here. Not a whole lot. A lot of little things, which I appreciate. They did wrap it up pretty well in the other one, in the other article. What's in here? Graph parameters UX. I hit play. I see nothing happening. I don't know. This one works. I think at this point, for a lot of games, if you don't need an injection of cash to get to the end of your game, just don't get a publisher. Just try your best. Hire one of these abandoned product marketers that have been fired hand over fist. Listen, they make billions so that they can spend millions. Where did the rest of the money go? We may never know. People have wild theories, but who could say what's true? I will say in some cases Steam's 30% is way too high. Way too high. Like I think it should be an inverse thing. Like the more money you make, the lower the percentage. It can be 30 on something that costs $1. Wizard. See, I don't step into this. I've never done any motion design. I'm sure someone's really excited. I hope they do that. I haven't looked in at what they take. I think they have like a lower bound, but I don't remember. Tech audio tools. There were a lot of images that just scrolled by. Let's see. What's going on here? Oh, a nice code screenshot lined right up. What's going on here? Very simple. Oh, I see. Mass processors. Enhances debugging. I can understand that. The new mass query executor. It's kind of wild. What is this? Is this a goblin? Is this a BP Titan player pawn 0? This has to be a goblin, right? What is with the colors? Is it are they sunburnt feet? Are these aren't shoes? Very odd. AI systems, all in bold. So what is this? Character motion component. Oh, that's pretty nice. I think this is what they were talking about working towards here. Threaded simulation. I wonder how that's implemented. Like, how do you set it up? Do they have anything up here about it? Teleporting. Very odd. I have to look into that. Okay. What's this one? Sequence-driven camera rigs. Precise control over timing and behavior. That's pretty neat. With live editor previews. I wonder what situations people are using this in. Like, is it much other than gathering visual footage? Or are we also using this for what used to be like pre-baked scenes? Like, I wonder if they had access to this in Expedition 33. They have a lot of what feels like a camera on a rig, which obviously would not be hard to just program, really. But I like this node graph. I think that's the best part about Unreal to me, is that there's so many things that you can do with a node graph and then just step into further if you need to. Sometimes you just want to drag some nodes around. In mass. Ooh. See, all of these things as game development ideas are cool, but what really like grabs me about them is just how they're doing it behind the scene. Like, what are they doing to support this? You have massive amounts of entities issuing path queries and using dedicated state tree tasks to move along them intelligently. That's this bit. What are they doing? Do you think it's just a big data tree? Why are some of these blue? Some of them green? Hmm. We enhanced the state tree editor experience with several quality of life upgrades aimed at improving clarity and usability. A new binding viewer. Interesting. What else is out here? Dockable media viewer. Oh, that's pretty cool. They added the ability to dock a video file or sequencer driven media track next to the viewport. I like that. That's a nice little tool. Good on them. Electroprotron. I don't like that name. Protron. Very odd. Let's see. Anything else cool going on here? Template variants. Greatly reduced in size. Does the engine still require like 100 gigs to install? It's been a while. What's going on here? Add a torch to the player pawn. Example map. Best practice when lighting dark environments. Is that really their call? A sprint mechanic and a flickering light. Do we see that in this? Yeah, look, it's flickering. That one flicker? That one doesn't. Interesting. What's going on here? Oh, look. It's like a Nerf gun. There's a lot about this I don't like. I'm gonna move on. Um, we extended it in the combat side scroller, and platformer variants. That's pretty neat. Look at him. He's just getting bounced around. He's not fighting back at all. Crazy. AI opponents that don't fight back. They do provide you with a lot, you know. Like, there's a reason that they are objectively the best engine for their spot in the market, but they're so wide. They aim so wide. Who can stop them? I don't know that I really care about these templates. What's going on here? Datasmith. Sounds very familiar. Nope. We're in the quick section here. In the framework AI section, synchronizing. Activate path following component ticking only when necessary. This is where we've left features and just gotten to bug fixes. Yeah, I might install it tonight. Take a look tomorrow. Build something. Build something small. I don't know. Hmm. Very interesting. A lot of small things in here. This is more text just in their small section than I think the majority of changelogs ever see. You can just you can scroll this page at max speed for a long time. All right. What is this? Horde agent. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's something like an internal cron job situation. Motivation and burnout. The best thing I could say for motivation is to set very small goals along your way. I'm a big project planner guy, so I will write out a lot of the things I need for a whole game, and then I will just take one section and then slice it up, and then slice those up even more, and take each one. A very single person agile method. And then I can not only celebrate finishing one thing, but I can also celebrate finishing a section of things. And it just builds. I would also say store versions of your project as you go in some form of well named format so that you can look at it in order. I've always enjoyed that. Um, Sometimes I'll forget, like when I moved from like really bad art to slightly not as bad art. And so, I'll be on that slightly not as bad art for a longer time, and then I'll go look back at my build previews over the time, and then suddenly there's a massive jump in quality. That always inspires me. I'd also say try to find some people that are interested in trying it out as you build it. If you can get to the point where someone is actually asking for changes, like when are you gonna have the next version out for me to try, then you've gone down the right path, which is a mix of finding the right game and the right people for that game. I've always said sometimes the game I want to make is not a game anyone would want to play, which is why it never finishes. But if your game is something people would want to play, but you find someone who wouldn't want to play that game, they're not going to have fun playing it. So just think about your audience ahead of time and get their feedback as you go, because every time they ask about it, if you've been working on the game, it'll be a big motivator, and if you haven't, it'll make you feel really guilty. Is that good? Probably not. In terms of burnout, I'd say, don't just like all programming, don't sit on a problem for too long. Just get up and do something else. Document what you need about it and then walk away. And then when you come back, maybe do something other than the problem as like a warm up, and you'll probably have a solution. If not, you know, like I said, don't sit on it for too long. Take a shot at it and then change up. Most problems, other things can be done while the problem is still there. So just step away from it. Also, not many things change in a couple weeks, so if you don't feel like working on it, don't. I think that's a big one. I think a lot of people, especially like hobbyist game devs I've talked to, they tend to get like trapped up on the idea that this is their like goal now. It's like their side hustle. And so if they're not doing it every day, then they feel like something's wrong. But you can't do anything every day really. You know, like even playing games, I don't want to do every day. And so you just got to switch things up, take some time off. With game development, it can be a little easier though because if you're just getting burnt out of the programming part, like just take a couple days to just write, like work on your story, or I will sometimes take a couple days off from programming to just make art. You know, it's nice to have so many different areas. Or like music. Music is a big one. I can step away completely from any editors and just like open Ableton and work on some kind of music. And then you can return with your freshly completed music or art or story or dialogue or whatever you were doing and program with that in mind. Uh, I think I think one of the biggest tips in game dev I kind of hit on in the video, but it's just like you got to keep doing it. Like games, even small games, like you go to a game jam and the 72-hour ones, you see some really cool stuff at the end, but usually by teams of like 5 people or more. The single guy with 72 hours to make something, he might make something cool, but if it looks cool, it probably isn't complete, and if it's complete, it probably doesn't look cool. And it just takes time. You just have to keep doing it, on and on and on and on, and learn when to walk away from a game. I think is a very important one. If you actually finish something and then you put it out there and you think, okay, well, I'll just keep updating it. I'll keep fixing things. I'll keep putting out new content. If you want to, that's cool. But eventually, you'll benefit more from just starting something new if you have ideas for something new. Uh, because there is a limiter on how much you can do for something that already exists. And especially in game development, where if it took you, a year or two to make something, you've learned enough for a lifetime, really, and yet you've also learned nothing. Just start something new, you know. There were a lot of Flash developers who were just stuck on a game they made because it became a profit source, like an income source, and they just never learned to walk away from it. And it took the death of Flash to finally take them away from it. And lots of them would talk about how like they don't like the game anymore. They don't like working on it. It's just a job because it brings in money for them. So that's a little depressing. But that's just an excuse to make new games. I like to change things up too. I do a lot of like top-down 2D stuff, but then every now and then it's just like, okay, you know what? 3D isometric. Why not? 2D first person. Why not? And you just try something out. I think that's the art part is you can just even if you're working on something right now, you can just take a weekend and bang out a prototype for something completely off the wall because either it's the start of something in the future. Hey, you can do 2D first person. You can do anything you want. Whether it's the start of something in the future or it's just like a learning experience, just do it. You jump in, you try it, and you can walk away from it. I have I have so many, like 3-day projects that I have taken small things away from and then get used in my main project, somewhere. Sometimes it's how to handle certain data, or it's how to, uh, like the first time I imported like proper 3D models was from a small project I took on, just trying out like a 3D game, because everything up to that point had been 2D. And then, I didn't use that 3D model importing and handling at all in my 2D project. But at the end of that 2D project, I said, I really enjoyed that 3D one. Let's try something out in 3D. So just try things out, really. I think it's like anything, you know, if you do it too much, it will lose some of that spark it had when you first started. And even if you can recognize that you still enjoy doing it, it won't feel the same. And so some things it's hard to switch up, Like I've been playing guitar for years now, and there's very little I could do to change up what it's like to play the guitar. But I could move to a new engine in game development, or I could try out a new genre, or I could try something really weird. I could abandon code altogether and just use all the node graphs. I wouldn't do that. That's a crazy thing to do. But you could. All right. Well, we have gone over the very eventful Unreal changes with all these very nice Witcher screenshots here. And whatever this is, we have gone over, that's very white. We've gone over the most important addition to the Godot since Fire and all this other stuff they're doing. I think that's all I've got for tonight. I'm very excited. I think we have some nice showcases tomorrow in terms of games, some smaller things. And then I think some additional ones. I think PlayStation's tomorrow, right? So that might not be very exciting. But I'll let you guys get on with your night or your day, wherever you are. I will wrap my night up. Oh, well, I hope you've had a good time going through these updates with me. And remember, Saturday we're looking at new games. I think it'll be a pretty good time. So good night.